Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk as TSM look to close out our day and keep their first place spot alive. All eyes are on their star players. And Mark, I think we got to start in the top lane with Huni.
Yeah, Huni has been incredible last week for TSM. I think he was one of the big reasons they were able to pick up the 3-0. And in particular, I really liked that Lee Sin game that he had. I thought he was a big part of why they were able to win a couple of these situations. He survived the top dive, getting the 1-for-1. Then he set up Spica in a number of these ganks, you know, getting the flash kicks and stuff like that. And I thought that this is exactly what people were looking for out of Huni last year when they signed him, to be a bit of a playmaker for the team when there's so many other people who like scaling. And I thought this team fight in particular, it was just so clean. You know, the timing, it's telegraphed where he's going to come in, but timing the Q perfectly, getting the kick in, and just obliterating perks.
Well, and I know earlier when we were having a conversation around Huni, one of the things you talked about was the way that he plays Jace and split pushers in general, where he actually does show a greater mastery than a number of other players in establishing pressure and holding it.
Right. A huge issue with Jace players that I have, or split pushers in general, is that when they're pushing, they almost always back with 1,000 to 1,500 gold right before a big objective. At that point in the game, when you're 3-4 items in, that money does nothing in your next fight, especially in a 1v1. Staying on the map and continuing the pressure and make the enemy team have the choice of either A, that top laner having to fight you, or B, them having to 5-man that objective is what split pushing is all about. But they almost always recall and just go towards the team fight. At that point, why are you playing a split pusher? If you're Jace, you're Camille, you're 3 items, you don't need any more items. Stay on that sideline, make them try to 1v1 you, bring the enemy to you.
I'm remembering some Cloud9 Zed games where High's underneath an inhib turret pretty late in the game, trying to pull people around the map. But returning to the conversation that was just had around Huni in the top lane, the other piece of that puzzle was Spica, Kaizen. I think we keep coming back to him, particularly in the conversations around junglers, where Blabber has kind of faded out of the picture, and there's a lot of talk around Spica, Closer, and who's going to fill that hole.
Yeah, and I think it's top 2 between Spica and Closer, and I think you can see from this pro view why Spica's up in that conversation. You know, this was a game where actually Blabber had Xin, right? And he had Syndra into Victor and Jason to Lee. So his goal was gank at all costs and get these lanes ahead. But Spica read that perfectly. You can see prior to this replay, he actually looked mid, looked for the counter gank, said, okay, I'm going to come back. He comes back, sees Syndra's pushing, he gets a good gank in there, and then he decides, okay, I know the other lane that can be impacted by Blabber and potentially turn around this game is top, so you see him go top. He can lane gank here, and he recognizes that Huni, because he's on the Lee Sin, has the ability to create space or close the gap so that Volibear can then leap in with ult. And then I love this play because he says, you know what, I actually don't even need my ult to close on the enemy directly. I can just use it to get over the wall, attack from an unexpected angle because that was actually a warded part of the map, and then end up killing him. So I love Spica's both his pathing in jungle ganks and his knowledge of where to be on the map to deny the enemy win condition. So Spica's playing extremely well.
And I think it's a different play style when you start talking about how different junglers can play. He is so much more about hitting the team's win cons. Like, okay, enemy team has a better early game. I got to do everything I can to deny their playmaking, get wards down. Oh, they have a good matchup here. Well, I want to counter out that Jace and get some free kills on him. And I think he's such a cerebral player about that stuff, as well as having really good smiting, really good objective control.
Right, we didn't get to talk about FlyQuest much, but I'm going to drop some information here for everyone.
Do it.
From what I have heard in the grapevine, the last time TSM and FlyQuest has scrimmed, FlyQuest speed ran this and lost a best of 5 in a total of 55 minutes.
Damn.
So I don't know what that says for this game, but I think that's pretty impressive in its own right, you know? Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to this game for a new world record.
That was like the least hype.
What better primer than that, huh? For the TSM versus FlyQuest game. TSM looking to retain that top spot. Time for us to hand it over to Demacia Vice for the final game of the day.
Welcome back, everybody. It is time for that last game of the day here in our first day of Week 4 competition. I'm still Flowers, that's still Raz, and this one should be fun. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, my friend. This seems like it is about to be a, hopefully, not a super fast speed run like I is talking. Why you gotta lead with that, man?
What am I supposed to
to do with that, huh?
Oh my goodness. And of course, the LCS is continuing our work with the White House. Yes, that one, the big presidential one, to spread the good word of the COVID-19 vaccine. That's right. The vaccine, it's a reason that we're here in person in the studio instead of me stuck in my bedroom again. So if you're here in the US of A, you can check out those resources on your screen right now to get yourself a vaccine for free. And when you do, you get us that little bit closer to an arena full of friends. Friends with what? Friends with butts. Butts in what? Butts in seats. And that's what I want to see, watching some video games together. And what could possibly be better than that? That's what it's all about.
I see it right now. Close my eyes. I hear the fans roaring.
Visualize it.
I see butts and I see seats.
Exactly. Think butts in seats. Anyway, let's go ahead and get ourselves into a draft here soon because I want to see what TSM's got cooking. Desk is already talking about it. They had the 3-0 week. They got some impressive looking players, but last time they played against each other here in the LCS, it was not so pretty.
Yeah, that was it wasn't what, you know, what we heard, the envisioning from high, from the grapevine. It was more so like FlyQuest taking a dominant win, responding to a lot of TSM's plays. So that was a Lucian game, but it wasn't his fault.
Nope.
It was everyone around him inting. So I don't expect that to be the case. TSM's been playing really damn well in the previous their previous games. Took a 3-0 week, and also have kind of zeroed in what their identity is. So I really want to see if they're drafting straight back to it.
Okay, so the bans are rolling in already. Akali, Set, Nocturne, Lulu, all banned away here. Karma will be the final ban of the first phase from TSM.
All right, so it feels like Rumble is still up and available. It's been a great pick, but Xin Zhao, I would imagine, would be the response from FlyQuest. FlyQuest has been a rather scrappy team, so picks like Xin Zhao, Silas has been what they would love to play and allow Palafox to just be empowered. If you were to look to one person on FlyQuest that you'd want to be able to, like you envision and have seen before in Spring Split, carry games for them, it has been Palafox. So the Rumble got picked like we said. I'm expecting a Xin Zhao to be one that follows up.
Okay, Rumble's in there. FlyQuest, you got 2 picks. There's so many powerful champions left up on the table right now. Both Gwen and Viego are still available.
True.
So we'll see if they want to lock either one of those in nice and early.
Now, also, the jungle pool is actually rather expanded off of the changes in the jungle. That not only the camps slightly being longer to respawn, also the comeback experience that comes into play. So we've seen some Sejuani even in the LEC, especially if you have picks. Oh, we've also saw on Armeo picking earlier today as well. So it's going to be a Lee Sin pick just because it is so damn flexible. And it is a great playmaker too if Palafox wants to play it.
Yep, the Lee Sin's always exciting to see, especially with how much of a flex pick he is these days.
Yeah.
I love seeing everybody have to pass the Lee Sin mechanics test. It's great because it shows that you're going to play a champion's got some skill to it. He's flashy when he pops off. It's just a good time. Over on the other side, TSM saying, all right, if you guys don't want Xin Zhao, we want Xin Zhao. But that means the Rumble's probably heading up there into the top lane. We all know that Huni has a long-standing reputation on this champion, so we'll get to see him on it here again. And Power of Evil on a trademark champ as well here with the Orianna.
I think this could be a Sejuani angle. If you go towards, I guess it's going to be Nautilus. My main point is you want just a great engaging force right here because you want to be able to burn flashes early against the Orianna. The same case goes towards the top lane in the Rumble just because Rumble, his primary weakness is the fact that he doesn't really have control of his own wave. He's going to be shoving out consistently. I've heard it has been a good matchup versus Gwen in particular, but if you're going to have the jungle be interfering, then yeah, easy to burn flashes there as well. So it's going to be interesting from a solo lane perspective and how TSM is going to manage. A lot of responsibility there for Spica to hold them up.
Yep, but I'm still excited to see both of these players on those champions that they have such a history with.
Yeah.
Right? Huni Rumble, Power of Evil Orianna. It's always a good time. Maybe Power of Evil is going to build something super wacky. That's still always one of my hopes every time I see him on this champion. So we'll see how that shakes out. However, Leona will be the first ban here from FlyQuest. Remember that last time they played, it was Sword Art on Leona against FlyQuest. He had a very unimpressive performance on that champion, but FlyQuest is still saying, hey, we know that that's just an off day. The man is a monster on the support role. Keep it away from him. Silas banned out too.
Might even take away the Alistar. Just engage forces, right? Because not only is Orianna a great setup type champion for these champions, like the Leona or Alistar or something like that, but also you want something to set up the Rumble and his ultimate. I know Huni is, you'd say, the best Rumble player in the LCS, but if he doesn't have something like an Alistar, a Thresh is a great example as well, to kind of set him up properly, then yeah, it's going to be hard for him to really stick on towards champions that just have dashes like the Gwen and Lee Sin.
Well, let's see what that last ban is here for TSM. LeBlanc banned away, so Palafox cannot take that one into the Orianna matchup. FlyQuest now thinking about what else they want to draft. I would expect the AD carry to come in here,
yeah,
and then leave that fifth pick open for a powerful counter pick.
Almost forgot about the fact that Jose Diodo is just an insane Lee Sin player. In the international that got him famous, it was his Lee Sin that just went wild.
Oh yeah.
So it's a great flex pick. Two junglers in the LCS, not only Broxa but also Jose Diodo are just chomping at the bits to get it.
Okay, we got the Gragas locked in here. So with that picked up and Nautilus guaranteed to be going into the support role, that means that I'm actually expecting to see more of a Gragas in the jungle with a Lee Sin in mid. But of course, we will have to wait and see how those roles come together once the draft is complete. We got to see both final picks here for TSM now. Braum picked it for the support, and now we need our AD carry.
Yeah, you rarely see AD carries drop in the literal 5 pick. But with Lost and Johnson, they are actually AD carries with much larger pools that I've seen them play. So with the Braum, you can really go anything here. We already saw the Lucian in the past, in the previous game. Wild Turtle was one that picked that one up. It's a great combination here. With a full comp, it feels like, yeah, safety would be important because you do want Xin Zhao to play towards the top side. Having a weak side Rumble top lane is just awful. He's just going to get picked apart. Like we said, very difficult for him to get control of his own wave when trading. So expect Spica to play towards that top side early, at least just so he can feel safe there when getting his wave under turret.
Makes sense, and our final pick of the draft here for FlyQuest will be the Tristana, so it'll be Johnson piloting that one here. Tristana, Nautilus, very powerful as a duo. If Nautilus is able to find that dredge line on Ezreal, catch him when he's not ready to S and shift out of it, Tristana can bring the pain very easily to follow up.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of hard lockdown, instant hard lockdown from TSM's side. Really, everything is reactable. Like the Orianna ulti is one, obviously Braum is another. Xin Zhao, 3 talent strike, these type of things where it's like Tristana can just jump in as long as she knows that exhaust cooldown just isn't there for the enemy team. So it's a safe Tristana here. And FlyQuest overall, you're right about the Jose Diodo picking up that Gragas. We've seen it once before. It was from Xerxes. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be a great composition that allows him to just fire off. A lot of frontline here, a lot of threats with the Gwen as well.
Right, and you already talked a little bit about how you wanted to see Spica play towards the top half of the map here early on, especially considering the Rumble pick. Are we wanting the same thing from Jose Diodo, or do we want to see him focus elsewhere?
I would like for him to focus bot side early. I think he can be a little bit more flexible. Like, there are going to be windows for him top side because you don't want your Gwen to fall behind and run into a situation where she's getting, like, you know, potentially 3-man dove, right? So if she's going to be weak side, that's fine. Just protect her when she doesn't have vision and you expect a stacking wave, these type of things. But go bot lane because there's a lot of kill pressure there with the Nautilus and Tristana.
Okay, here we go, my friends. TSM and FlyQuest, last game of the day. Let's see who walks away with a win here. TSM very far ahead of their opponents here in the standings right now, up there at the top of the table, and FlyQuest want to knock them down an inch or two. Running out onto the map, they're all fanning out while we have what appears to be a bit of a death ball on the side of TSM.
Yeah, looking top side here. This is them trying to see if they can get a Braum Q tag on towards the Gwen. Yeah, they can chase him up, and remember, he doesn't have flash, so this should turn into a kill.
Going in, Sword Art's going to drop down the ward. Nope, okay, so he will get away. That is the nice part, of course, about playing the Gwen. Remember, everybody scales the E at level 1 just because that lets you dash in and run at him, so you have that extra escapability there if you get caught out.
Yeah, and it doesn't harm your level 1 at all, as you already mentioned. I mean, the 40% attack speed that she has, the added, you know, magic damage that's on top of it. It's going to be difficult for any champion to deal with really early on. Look at the pro view, though. Junglers, POV.
You love to see it.
Nice.
See how you're going to improve your own game. What is it, every week, every day, something like that? There's always a Reddit post complaining about how jungle's not popular anymore because of scuttle crabs or whatever. So here's how to learn how to dominate the jungle anyway. If you want to learn to be the best jungler you can be, don't miss out on this matchup. Spica versus Jose Diodo, both on a couple of big playmakers in the Xin Zhao and the Gragas. It'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, nothing cursed. I feel like whenever we end up going towards the support position or the top lane, it's like, oh, they're the ones that are playing weak side, just farming up, or playing like a tankier jungle angle. This time around, no. A lot of action should be there from both Jose Diodo and Spica. Jose Diodo, I think, should be playing towards, I said bot lane, but I think go through mid first because you have the Lee Sin. You want to burn flash from the Orianna first, so I'm expecting Palafox to work alongside Jose Diodo, and then you can transition that to the bottom lane.
Okay, so Palafox, Power of Evil, 1v1 here in this mid lane. Orianna, of course, the more traditional mid lane pick, but down here in the bottom side, Dreams with a nice dredge line. Lost down to 200 HP off that one.
Great trade there. Johnson was just on top of it, so you love to see it. And in the race for level 2, I'm wondering, I expect that to be Johnson and Dreams picking that one up first. Yeah, Lost and Sordar had to back away.
Oh, nicely done with the flash into the dredge line to keep on going. The exhaust comes in, but the damage goes down, and Lost is out. Summoner spells be damned. It's first blood for FlyQuest.
Perfect. See that confidence from Dreams. Flashes immediately because they know they'll get a lot off of Lost on that one. That was double summoners and a kill. So great job there to set up his AD carry.
So well done. And look, one thing I want to point out too, that was so close in terms of the exhaust coming down in the last auto attack, not quite getting the kill and needing the bomb. Look at the inventory of Lost. He started with a tier. I think if he starts with Doran's Blade, he has enough HP that he lives through the bomb.
Yeah.
Maybe, thanks to the exhaust. I'm not sure, but that is worth pointing out because I know that's a decision sometimes Ezreal's change at the start of the game.
And I know that Johnson made the decision to back away from the turret, did not to get the last hit because the exhaust went down, and he knew that the last ignite tick would do the job. So instantly flashing there from Dreams, the follow-up there from Johnson, they knew that this was going to be the case. So take a look at this. Just that last auto attack, he knew that the bomb on top of it, it was actually just not the ignite. He knew that he did enough damage for that to be the killing blow. So great job from Johnson and Dreams straight at the beginning of the game going up against TSM.
Very well done from FlyQuest, getting on the board before we're even at 4 minutes.
Hell yeah.
And just in case y'all are stuck at a boring meeting somewhere, or maybe you're on the drive back home, remember you can listen to the live audio coverage of the 2021 LCS Summer Split over on LeagueDay.live. Just in case you can't quite be watching the games, you can still be listening to them and keep up with all the action. Speaking of the action, TSM not quite going to find anything up here on the top half of the map.
Yeah, but they're going to need some action to get back some semblance of control. No sums from Lost. He's going to be a sitting duck. It was also just FlyQuest wanting to play towards that side of the map anyways. So you are on the drive. You're going to be listening to some very loud and excited casters on that end when that happens.
Everybody's having a good time. That's the way we like to do it here in League of Legends, as Jose Diodo here on the Gragas back out onto the map with those level 1 boots purchased. That first purchase is so important for Predator junglers just because you don't have a keystone until you have it.
Yep.
So I love seeing these guys. Don't bother going for the full clear if you don't have to. Go through, get those level 1 boots, get back out on the map, and have that extra playmaking.
Yeah, and right now, he's been looking for a lane to play through. He's just farming up naturally. But I think Lost and Sorta are going to be under turret, so unless if you're looking for a dive, nothing's going to happen there, especially versus Braum. And also Orianna, Power of Evil has just been playing a really safe game. His wave state's always been good for him. He's never been in a position to get ganked at all by Jose Diodo, who's had Flash, of course, and still has teleport. So I think Power of Evil, the game is working out well for him. He's getting closer and closer to that mark where he does need to base, though, but that won't be a problem.
Okay, still a pretty close game that we got here, despite FlyQuest grabbing that first blood, of course. You know, just one kill ain't going to sway anything all the way one side or the other. Looking at the jungle, you can see Spica picking up both the longsword and the ruby crystal here, building towards the Gorge Drinker that Xin just seems to always go for in the competitive environment these days. You and I were having a conversation backstage before we got onto the casting desk here today about how you can do spicier builds in solo queue. You can get yourself the shield bow, you can get yourself some more offensive options, but usually you got to go with something that has a bit more of a bruisery take to it in pro play.
Especially because games are just consistent. Games like this, you know, the enemy team can choose to fight you or not. And so it's just much better to have that straight first buy that works for you, that you can team fight far more effectively. And also, he's setting up the Orianna ulti and all these things. Like, he has a lot of damage around him. He doesn't need to be that source. Just needs to buy time for his team. There was a ping really earlier on that was from the TSM side that was pinged on towards Dragon. I don't think they're going to have control on Dragon for some time, which is why they're looking topside. Just want to make a trade happen. But there's a ward that catches him out here, so a lot of great information. I think it should be FlyQuest that have first Dragon here because of that.
Okay, TSM up here in the top side. Is there a play to be made? It don't quite look like it. Licorice having level 6.
Yeah.
Remember that 3 out of 4 of Gwen's abilities are I'm going to kill you. And once she has that ultimate, you can take a lot of damage from the burst on it, especially if you're both lined up to be hit by it at the same time. So risky business it would be to make a dive up there, so nothing like that's going to happen. Jose Diodo here down in the bottom side going after the Infernal Drake, and honestly, Raz, it don't look like he's going to be stopped.
Yeah, it's just been a great game overall from FlyQuest. The ward those tops, that's fine. But also this, the control ward that they have right behind the pit, there's just so much that they had. And also Licorice was just playing, as you said, really respectfully, was just not in dive range. So there's just nothing there for TSM early on in this game. They're just going to be scaling up around the Orianna, and that's fine by them. But now FlyQuest, I think, have played their best in some time. I know they've had a lot of scrappy games, but this one is just, for them, a really controlled game where it doesn't feel like anything's out of control for them. Here comes Palafox, though.
Okay, this could be a play onto Huni. He will see his opponent thanks to that ward. However,
he's going for
Lee
it.
Sin is highly mobile. Not mobile enough, apparently, so not going to get there in time. He'll just walk it back off.
Doesn't want to lose the wave here, too, so look for the opportunity. Couldn't get it. He's going to lose the wave anyways.
Yeah, bye-bye wave.
Yeah.
See you later. He'll lose that first melee minion, second melee minion. He might get back there to catch one melee minion. Last melee minion.
One.
Cue it,
One.
cue it, cue it, cue it. Nope.
He's got the experience,
All
I think.
all right.
But, like, that just goes to show how much protection TSM had for Huni's Rumble. Like, the entire topside map was just lit up throughout the river and that control ward in the tri-bush. So there really wasn't going to be an instance with Huni just underneath, sitting on top of him under tower, that he was going to be gankable. So this is great overall from TSM, but it's going to be an active effort from FlyQuest to try and chip at that.
Barrel over the wall just to check the Rift Herald, make sure Spica is not sneaking that one away.
There he is.
And you can see the EXP on the left side of your screen. Right now, Huni is the only man in the game, currently at level 8. The other solo laners just right there on his heels at level 7. Both of our junglers staying dead even at level 6.
So that's, of course, a level advantage, 20 CS up, and he's going to look for a play on top of Licorice here. Does he have any support?
Let's see. Does he want to jump out of this brush and go for the play here? We know how deadly Gwen can be in these 1v1s. Licorice, of course, just biding his time. Huni steps out. Licorice steps back. No fight to be found.
Yeah, so and maybe even just trying to see if she just hard shoves so he can freeze on her. But it's just been a great game so far from Huni. As the Rift Trail's like,
Shelly get lost.
Here?
Huni's playing very carefully here. Jose Diodo moving in. Finds the Q, gets the charge off on that one. Saves the ulti here, doesn't want to drop that one. Knows that Huni has the flash, so if the ult comes out, Huni can just flash to a place where it knocks him to safety. Opts not to make that trade.
Yeah, really smart holding his own flash for that one. So Huni, even though he used his ultimate, this is just great from him, who knows that he's a constant target.
Yeah, and this is exactly what you said you wanted to see, right? You want to see them be able to focus Huni if he's pushing up and Spica's not shadowing him.
Yes.
He's a target now because he always has to push the wave. So now Spica's doing what you wanted to see. He's up here. He's saying, okay, we should probably protect the Rumble a little bit. It's obvious he's got a target on his back.
Yeah, now they're going to have Braum come topside, so I think TSM's going to try for a Rift Herald here, 9 minutes in. They're really concerned about FlyQuest looking for a fight here. The only concern would be that Rumble doesn't have ultimate, so yeah, it's going to get contested here. They might just concede it because of the no ultimate from Rumble, so he's not going to be too helpful. But it all comes down to TSM. They know they have an amazing Rumble topside. They know they have a great matchup for him. It's very uninteractive. There's not much that Gwen can do if she wants to dive in. Just get harpooned.
Yeah, it's not going to be a lot, man. Those electro harpoons slow you down by a lot. Jose Diodo will drop the ward there in the brush that sees his opponents walking up. And with TSM having the manpower to stand and fight here, looks like FlyQuest has to back this one away.
They should be sticking down. I think it's going to be a FlyQuest one regardless because Tristana was the one roaming. She had the first push against Ezreal with no mana. He's the one that's saying, I can't help. So as long as FlyQuest fully commit their AD carry, and they're not actually.
Nope,
they're
he's
backing
right
away
back down
with it.
there.
All right.
They do not want to lose out on too much farm. They want to maintain that little bit of a lead they have. Licorice forced back underneath his own turret now as Huni will have priority out of the top lane. And with that priority, with that control, TSM earned themselves a Rift Herald.
Okay, I mean, Lost still has to go back to base, so that should be turret plates there for Johnson now. He's going to try and chip as much as he can, but that means that FlyQuest now have to be defensive, know what the next play is going to be. I would imagine that it's going to be Spica trying to put it Rift Herald mid lane to get control of the next dragon. Ezreal cannot walk up to this way. I mean, he's pretty far off, but...
Yeah, he's he's way, way back there. Sword Art's walking up. Ward placed down. Licorice going into the top lane here. There's that ulti I was talking about. Got the 5 needles. But not enough damage. Huni gets out, but he has to flash to do it. Of course, the Ignite from Licorice was also used there, but it does have a lower cooldown. Palafox going in looking for the play. He's got it. Look at the follow-up coming in from the rest of the team. Power of Evil tries to get away, but he can't do it. Palafox with kill number 2.
They threw it all. 3 ultimates from FlyQuest side and a perfect timing with Dragon coming up. Power of Evil didn't have help on that one. They were all trying to go down bot side, and now he gets picked off with his own flash as well. Great work from FlyQuest.
Very, very nice stuff. Let's take another look at how this happened with Palafox on the playmaking.
Man, that was smooth. That was just a really well done play from Palafox, following up with just about everything. Even though the ultimate from Power of Evil at least gives him some distance, that fadeaway Gragas ultimate's going to get the job done.
Yup, right into the Iron Spike whip, active to finish off the kill and guarantee that you get the gold on the mid laner. TSM, however, will now seize the opportunity to go for this second Drake as it spawns. That will even up our Drake count, and it will be a Mountain Soul here this game.
Yeah, a lot happened during the replay. I guess just a base there from FlyQuest side. So it didn't really matter all too much. The Power of Evil died on that one. So yeah, I mean, overall, it's just a traded Dragon there. TSM being able to trade up is nice. It's going to be Mountain Soul, so it's a little bit more impactful, I would say, from FlyQuest side. They have the Lee Sin, Nautilus, and all that. So, and also as the game scales up, it's going to be great for Licorice. So I'm imagining he would want to go towards Azonias just for team fighting.
And you can see, even though both of them like to head for that Riftmaker nice and early, already completed for Huni, because he has about a 4-wave farm advantage. Licorice, those 4 waves behind, I mean, he's still juggling components. As Jose Diodo is down here in the bottom lane, looking to maybe make something happen. Control ward placed down defensively in that Krug brush. Means that Jose will be spotted. Lost finding whatever Mystic Shot poke that he can, just trying to get rid of this FlyQuest jungler. But hey, the players weren't the target, the turret was. And it makes it pretty easy for Johnson to put a lot of damage into that one. Plating only around for another 30 seconds, but they don't even need that time. FlyQuest with the first turret of the game, and now Palafox is going for the 1v1. Here yet again, Power of Evil's in a lot of hurt, and Palafox solos him down.
There we go, found that angle. Power of Evil sending out the ultimate, hoping that he could create some distance, but Palafox getting that kick works out wonderfully. And all of this was being done while FlyQuest is just pummeling TSM's bottom lane, and Gwen was just picking up his own camps. Here we go.
Oh, okay, Sword Art's getting knocked back, but good use of his shield keeps him safe. He will survive the damage. And yes, TSM did do a good job trading the turrets there with the one on the top side, but now we got a fight breaking out. Palafox, what are you doing, buddy? A little bit too hyphy on that one as the backup has arrived. Licorice is ready to go. Speak is going to get himself away, and Licorice is in some trouble. He tries to walk all the way back. Yes, there's a cast coming out, but Licorice dies, and TSM is on the board.
I felt like a defensive play from Palafox, knowing they needed an exit way. They dove pretty deep, and it was Jose Diodo that didn't have much HP. He was going to be the target, so they're trying to find a way out. Just a great punish from TSM overall to get that kill on towards Licorice. At least they got something on the board now.
Yes, exactly, right? They finally got themselves that first kill. It's almost 15 minutes into the game. The early game didn't see many of the fights going in their favor.
Yeah.
Now they're here. Now they got the punish. The gold still not even 500 apart. Both teams at 1 turret to 1 turret. That is what I was saying before that fight broke out, because you were talking about FlyQuest being able to pummel this bottom lane turret. Let's take another look here in the replay.
Yeah, so they caught Sword Art here warding, but the problem here is that Johnson was really far off. Even if the ultimate was nailed down from Jose Diodo, Sword Art was going to be safe. So here comes Huni. They want to be able to cut off their exit with the Huni ultimate, but Palafox tries to buy time. They think they can take the fight. Here comes the ultimate layering through in a really small corridor. So FlyQuest just needed a way out. There's just too much damage flooding in from TSM's side. So it was a smart decision to just leave Licorice. He almost got the kill on a Sword Art too.
Yeah. And I mean, at that point, somebody's going to die. If somebody else went back to try to trade Licorice, or to try to save Licorice and get some sort of a trade, it would not work. Palafox now in a 1v1 against Huni. True Shot Barrage comes down, but it won't find the target it was looking for. Palafox looks for the re-engage now. Has his cooldowns ready to go yet again. Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike, but it won't work, baby. That's Huni Rumble, and he gets the kill in the 1v1.
He was overheated, and he was just smacking him with his drill. Really well done.
That stupid anime drill that he has to scream the name of every time that it turns on, man. You better be ready for it.
Better believe it being operated by Kamina himself. Huni did a great job there, but yeah, it was close. I mean, Palafox has been on fire this game, so trying to even it up works out well for him.
Okay, Power of Evil, just making sure that he's checking every brush for Licorice. You don't want to allow Gwen to get the drop on you there. Licorice, of course, still not quite at the same level that Huni is in terms of his economy, is one level down as well, but still a very real threat against Power of Evil in a long lane situation. So Power of Evil must play that safely. TSM now with the gold lead, despite still being down a kill.
First bases here coming through from TSM. It should be a Dragon focus now. It's going to be second Dragon, sure, but I would prioritize that over Rift Herald here. So wonder who's going to get the first dib at that one. Vision control is there from FlyQuest's side. So all they're really waiting on is Licorice. Licorice being there first is going to be really important, but it's going to be Orianna that's lagging a little bit behind. Let's just see it. They're in position for a fight.
Okay, Huni could be the first one to be found. Nautilus ulti comes down. Gragas ulti goes through, but it knocks away the Ezreal. Equalizer placed down for the counterattack, and TSM is ready to go. Huni was the one who was baiting them in all along. FlyQuest do not get what they're looking for, and now with everybody else hurt, they have to hobble away.
So close. They knew that going for Huni was the right play, and even the Nautilus ultimate to set up Gragas. That was the idea, but you're right, baited him in, and now that's going to be Dragon there for TSM.
And getting them stuck in that spot, Huni's flash just setting it up for the perfect placement of the equalizer to make sure that, yeah, you actually probably could have killed him, but if you did it, everybody's dying on top of those equalizer flames. So FlyQuest just end up going too far. TSM takes second Drake, but now what could be a very nice pick onto Spica. He'll be caught out here with the follow-up damage coming through, but Jose doesn't have a lot. Jose Diodo here with the stasis, looking to somehow stay alive, and he will. Palafox gets the kill.
So close to being able to pick up Jose Diodo, but this is just Palafox carry here. If it's going to be a win from FlyQuest, it's going to be off the back of what is an incredible Lee Sin play from Palafox this game.
Palafox on the Lee Sin seems to be the X factor for FlyQuest in this game thus far. Responsible for all, well, not all of their kills, I suppose, but responsible for all of them except for the first blood down there in bottom lane. As you can see, Johnson getting the wave shoved up here in mid. The Tristana does still have a 20 farm advantage, so once he gets to that 2-item power spike, they'll be feeling a lot better.
Yeah, and he's just been picking off what are more immobile targets here. Like, Ezreal is never going to be the focus here. Lost has been playing well regardless of all the attention that's been going towards the bottom side of the map, but it's going to be on Huni. Most of the time it's going to be a Power of Evil, so they're playing really far back, and that's the risk of running double mages here in Rumble and Orianna, is that if you don't have control over an objective, then it's going to be the playmakers of Gragas and Lee Sin that are on top of you. So I know they recognize that. They're already going towards what is a Zhonya's pick up there. Huni's on that already.
Yep, love to see it.
So like those are things that you need to buy more time as the team fight progresses. That's going to help you out.
And TSM's about to hit a couple of pretty powerful item spikes here as these second items complete as well. Both of their carries in the Orianna and the Ezreal have fully stacked tiers that now just need to be evolved into their final item, which will instantly auto-complete to the second form. So really, really big power spike will be coming online once those are able to be completed.
And it's not the first time that we saw this Riftmaker build come in through from Power of Evil. He recognizes these are going to be long, drawn-out team fights. He's going to be stacking up the max stack pretty consistently. Yeah. So he's, mathematically going to be dealing more damage, got the more sustain. So if there's going to be, like I mentioned Palafox, and I mentioned the damage that's going to be raining through from Jose Diodo, he's going to be able to sustain that well. So I think that is a smart decision. The tier also just on top of that is going to not have that mana discrepancy and problems that you would if you actually just went towards the Luden's Echoes.
And the timing is perfect here because you brought up the fact that Huni's working towards the Zhonyas. I mentioned the tiers both already being fully stacked, and you can see in the inventories 1, 2, 3 Hourglass with Seraphs, with Muramana, all completed now for TSM in time for the next fight. FlyQuest needs to be aware of that. They've got some powerful item spikes of their own. Jose Diodo here with that Night Harvester means some powerful Gragas AoE can really do some damage to the health bars. And Tristana, Johnson, now having that 2-item power spike that's so deadly on Trist.
See if they're trying to make a play here I don't know who their target would be, but Jose Teodo is behind enemy lines. They're going for someone.
Okay, Dreams is in a bad spot here. He'll be caught out and just destroyed. Nobody nearby.
Oh, no. Now, let's see.
Oh, Palafox, what are you doing there, buddy? This was just absolute disaster for FlyQuest. You've lost your mid laner. You've lost your support. Johnson's jumping in, looking to kill Lost, but that won't happen. You've lost Lost. And now he's running over to join the rest of the team. TSM's going for Baron.
Yeah.
Jose Teodo still here. Still with Flash, still with Smite. Licorice jumps in, trying to just buy some time. Distract him enough to get him off the Baron. That's the name of the play. Stepping away from the Mystic shot so he won't get stunned. Spica's just over the wall here with a Flash, ready to stand and fight him. Jose Teodo here now, looking for a way into the pit, maybe. Right back in they go, but it's secured by Spica. FlyQuest cannot get the steal. They jump in. They're trying to go for the YOLO play. You only live once, but you're gonna die twice. What in the hell is this? What?
Run.
Palafox is going in. The fight ain't done. Palafox is gonna die. Dreams is gonna die. It's a conga line down the top lane river.
Palafox heard exactly what you said. He's like, I want to die twice too.
Oh my lord.
Man, that was... I said it was Jose Teodo that was in behind enemy lines, but how far behind enemy lines does it take before you get punished? And that was Dreams dying in the top side of the map, Lee Sin to follow. All of this, by the way, when they were trying to focus down a dive mid lane. And so less members here. I like this play from Spica. So all he's trying to do is just say, hey, the team, you guys need to burn down the Baron. I'll just interrupt Gragas if he tries to dash in with my ultimate. So that made a lot of sense, but he was buying a lot of time. So he just said, screw it, 50-50, goes in, because they're going to win the fight anyways. And yeah, about this TP.
Yeah, they TP in because I guess they're thinking, okay, TSM, they got some injured health bars here. That's still 5 men from TSM in the same location, and you're 2 men from FlyQuest trying to fight them. It's not going to work out there, and TSM just get away with a play that's honestly set them up to be in a spot to just win the game from here.
Yep. All it takes is one mistake. FlyQuest were in a pretty good position. And now mistakes on mistakes.
I was going to say, I'm not even going to call that a single mistake. I'm going to call that a series of unfortunate events that all happened very close to one another. And that is now a game that's even further in TSM's control. 3 Drakes stacked up for them now. They will continue pushing. They only have 2 turrets down from FlyQuest. So this tier 1 mid still standing, all those tier 2s still standing. Lots of gold for TSM to try to get here.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, TSM's not forced to do anything. Oriana's coming right back out of base, so she's focused on the top side. She does have to play respectful, yeah, going redirecting towards the mid lane because FlyQuest just beelined it up top here. But they're just going to play 3 lanes. That's what I'm expecting. They're going to be defensive when the wave comes in top side, and now they're going to have to respond to what is Huni in the mid lane, Ezreal, Oriana, and Braum pushing mid. So, yeah, base is coming through right now from FlyQuest side. This is when the attack comes through.
Mm-hmm. Well, here it goes. TSM just rolling down mid lane, death ball style. Everybody's grouped up. You can see Sword Art taking a step off to the side, just sweeping around, looking for vision, making sure that nobody's getting caught out here by some sort of a pincer maneuver.
They see Lee Sin topside with no teleport, so if they want to just go for a dive, they can do it.
Yeah. They're saying, all right, if you want to split push top, sure, go for it. No big deal. They already saw that teleport that resulted in his death in the topside river. The rest of FlyQuest knows there is no world where this 4v5 is winnable. They will back away. They will watch their mid lane inhibitor fall, and their mid laner is now on his way back to the base.
Yeah, that's just a call from FlyQuest, knowing that they didn't want to go for a 5v5 underneath turret. They'd feel like they would lose anyways.
Right.
So just trying to trade something. It makes sense, but now...
Still feels bad.
Yeah, feels really bad, especially after you know that it was a flurry of mistakes that happened really earlier on. So 3 minutes until the Dragon, that would be Soul for TSM. It's a little bit of time left, but for FlyQuest, it's pretty rough because... Yeah, you want to focus towards the Dragon, and I think TSM's going to pile on the wards here, but they don't even have to do that. They can send members straight down mid lane and force an end of the game, so FlyQuest just has to force a fight now before TSM sets up their vision.
Okay, FlyQuest has 4 players down here in this bottom side in the jungle of TSM. Dreams now pretty far forward, separated from the rest of the squad. Spica jumping in, but remember that even if Xin takes a lot of damage, the ulti does a lot. TP's coming in, Huni's ready to go, prepare to be equalized. Huni's joined the fight. Spica's already on a killing spree. Palafox goes in looking for the damage. Even if you take him low, you won't take him down. He's still got the stasis ready to go. Back in mid lane, Johnson's killing a tier 2, so yes, they'll get something, but they're gonna lose a lot more.
Yeah, I feel like the FlyQuest were on the different pages here. Johnson saying I'll just push straight through mid to deal with the super minions, but the setup there from FlyQuest was to force a fight. And so now you've lost 2 members. You're going to lose Inhibitor on the bot side of the map. They're already just pinging the turrets they want. So FlyQuest are going to have to give this one away too.
Okay, tier 2 turret falls in the bottom lane. Tier 3 turret will now be the next target. Remember that Palafox is dead for 10 more seconds. TSM do not have a Baron to enchant all these minions. However, they have a teleport, and that makes minions very tanky as well. Goodbye tier 3 turret in the bottom lane. TSM continue moving forward. Huni may only have half HP, but his ulti's ready to go yet again, and he's got the Zonias. Engage coming out from Dreams, but it won't find a value target. Equalizer comes down, and FlyQuest has to retreat immediately. Spica's ultimate will keep him safe as he pressures forward, and now looks for even more. Wind becomes lightning, and the shockwave follows the wind. Dreams will die, and Lost is on a rampage. FlyQuest try to hold on and survive. Licorice dashes forward, but he cannot continue the fight alone. TSM now looking at Nexus turrets, but backing away with injured health bars.
Yeah, this is just TSM fully confident, jacked up, 6K goal lead, even Lost blinking forward for extra bit of damage because he knew he couldn't get punished. It's just rough stuff here from FlyQuest now.
FlyQuest are at death's door. They're trying to find anything on the back edge of this. But honestly, TSM doing a good job sticking together, backing away. It's another TP coming out. Palafox looking for something on the back end, but TSM is already gone.
Yeah, trying to delay bases. They were successful at that, getting 2 people back, but 3 low mana, low HP members of TSM were sticking around. But 40 seconds is enough time for TSM to base, come back, and fight for soul.
Okay, Palafox is moving forward. Jose Dioto right behind him. They're seeing if, okay, maybe there's a chance somebody's alone farming chickens or something like that. Maybe there's some sort of a miracle pick to be made, but there is not. And FlyQuest are now down 5,000 gold. It's 20 seconds until the soul for TSM. This is a dire situation.
It's a midnight desperation. It's when you're hungry, there ain't nobody open, you look in the fridge, you see nothing. You're like, anything I can eat, please, but they ain't getting it.
Nope, the whole fridge is completely barren, my friends. It's when you open it, nothing in there, close it, come back in 5 minutes. Why did I expect something different? It's still empty. TSM, control over the bottom side river. Dragon has spawned. Licorice is in a position to flank. This will be the Hail Mary from FlyQuest. They know they can't give away the Dragon Soul.
Hey,
they gotta try to force this here.
Dart, so Licorice can make this fight happen.
Licorice is already over the wall. Licorice is already going in, but he's alone right now. TSM backing away through the right side of the river, but now jumping right back in for Licorice. Spica will stand and fight, and Spica will take him down. Everybody else from FlyQuest trying to run, but Dreams is already dead. Jose Dioto with the flash over the wall, but will it even be enough? He throws out the cask. He jumps back over the wall with a body slam. Spica is still looking, and Huni is still cooking with fire, baby. TSM just absolutely wiped the floor with him, and it's Palafox versus 5. My money's on the 5.
Take no prisoners. And Huni is like, why are you interrupting me taking soul, all right? They're trying to pad stats here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets a kill on top of it. This is going to be a clean TSM victory now.
TSM, all that's left is to march it down, take away these last couple of turrets here. Nexus turret number 1 is done. Palafox stepping up, trying to fight. There's not much fight left in him. FlyQuest can no longer win this game. TSM will just do a little bit of padding the stats here at the very end. Huni will get it done, and TSM 20-5 take down FlyQuest.
Now that is revenge. Last time they played and they are ready. You know, TSM weren't ready, but now they've taken wins after win. The past 2 weeks for this team has been amazing.
Yeah, TSM looking good here. Now, yes, early on, things were not going great for them at the start of this game. Down in the bottom lane, they give away first blood in the 2v2 because FlyQuest recognizes, hey, we can go for this. Let's get it done. Then in the mid lane, Palafox providing the playmaking to get the kill on Power of Evil. FlyQuest had good moments earlier on in this game, but you saw that once it was time to group up, play together, TSM just seemed on another level, able to make sure that they were in the right place at the right time, fighting together as a team.
100%. There were a lot of good things here from TSM. I think one thing to make note of, just to say, even if the early mistake happened there in lane from Lost, he recognized that he was under constant pressure, and he played well accordingly. Every time there was a 3-man die, he weren't even close to that.
He's like, nope.
Not letting it happen.
Next neighborhood over. It's just you don't want to be anywhere near this turret. You don't want to be anywhere near these guys. They're going to throw a bad time for you, and you don't want to have anything to do with it. Avoiding further mistakes. Good looks.
And on the opposite end, Huni had a phenomenal game on his Rumble.
Yes.
Like, he had the pressure early, he had the vision early, and when he didn't have that, he played respectfully, but not overly respectfully. He didn't burn his flash when he didn't need to.
Yeah.
And then as the game went on, his ultimates were picture perfect. The one I remember was at that ramp around the red, around the Raptors in the red side jungle that just made it so hard for FlyQuest. They had to concede their Gwen in that fight.
Yeah, and the one that I remember, a different one, the one at the red buff where they were chasing him, thought they got the pick,
True.
Flash over the wall, drop it right on top of that vertically, and make it so FlyQuest can no longer commit. Really good equalizer play coming out of him. Pog is Huni, both player of the game and just Pog. The man played amazingly. You love to see it. This is why I got excited when they locked in another jungler, and I got to say, oh, it's going to be Huni on Rumble.
Yep.
You love seeing Huni on Rumble.
39% damage percentage, huge. You would expect that. He's a carry. He's a top lane, sure. 27 CS difference at 15 because he was able to just pummel the Gwen underneath turret. It was difficult for her to ever find moments. There was one opportunity. Palafox says, I'm going top lane. There's a ward in this bush.
Didn't work. Huni just walked it off. Big, slow anime robot steps, but he got there. And now we're diving into a break. But on the other side, Dash and the State Farm Analyst Desk are going to be wrapping up our day. We'll see you there.
Welcome back to the LCS and the State Farm Analyst Desk, where TSM will retain their hold on first place by 1 game with the victory here over FlyQuest. What are you pointing at?
Back wall.
Oh, that. Wake up, Mark!
Why are you sleeping, bro?
I don't know. Oh, they covered it up.
What, do you think that was a snoozer? Is that
Too
what you're trying to
distracting.
tell us?
No, this game was a banger.
Resident banger.
Let's walk through it. It was a bit of a slow start in some ways, but TSM really opened it up towards the late game.
Yeah, it was a bit of a disappointing start. I mean, this is something where you should be counting creeps the whole time. You should see the flash show coming. You should be able to flash it. And the fact that this went badly for TSM out the gate made it a little bit scary of a game. This is a double kill or a solo kill in the 2v2 that shouldn't happen. It kind of put them behind for a lot of the early game. First turret got taken, and it gave FlyQuest an in.
Yeah, and they took it in, and they took it even further. You know, Parafox, I thought, had a really great game. You see him here setting up a gank that I love that FlyQuest decided, okay, we're going to commit jungle and support resources to helping. And then I believe he even got a solo kill at some point on this.
Right here, baby.
Game. Yeah, right here. Oh, it is right here. And yeah, I think Parafox, you know, he had a exactly kind of game you want from the mid laner on a melee champ, looking to play really aggressively, set up ganks and make individual plays. But at the end of the day, TSM, I mean, Huni in particular was a big monster.
All right, well, we're taking a look at the Baron secure here, but like, what went wrong for FlyQuest? Because those first few plays that we took a look at all looked great, all looked fine and dandy for Tristana to be getting a first blood.
Right, well, it seems like they kind of just, stopped using their heads and they started doing solo plays. And they kind of get outscaled, in my opinion. Their team comp is really hard to play. The later the game goes on, it's harder to execute. Whereas TSM's team comp is super easy. Like, you just play front to back and you win the team fight. Whereas on the other hand, FlyQuest, you kind of need Lee Sin to be useful, same with Gwen. And how do you dive that comp as the only divers, So it's pretty tough.
Yeah, it was a game where things were going to go bad for FlyQuest, so they couldn't keep making those plays. And I would say, for the most part, FlyQuest stabilized, and they had their own advantages in the top side. Spica was cycling Krugs a couple times off of Huni's natural lane pressure. He had like a 20 CS lead, and that was kind of the bridge in some ways to offset the problems a little bit that they were having in the bot and mid lane.
Well, we heard the casters talking about it, but Huni picked up player of the game, and I feel like more and more as we talk about TSM and their success, it is actually looking towards that top side, Spica included in that. But whereas maybe people would look at this originally as the power of evil centered team, and how do we play around him? I'm starting to feel like, at least in the summer split, it's a lot of the Huni show.
Yeah, and I think we have to start having a discussion, is Huni the best top laner in the league right now?
Well, all right. Is Huni the
Let's
best
have it.
Rumble?
Well,
He's definitely the best Rumble. Yeah.
So that one's easy.
Yeah, that one's easy. But, it used to be the Alfari show, and Impact was doing really well. I think Impact continues to perform well for his team, but Huni is starting to become a legitimate threat to carry every single game. And there's certain picks where on Rumble, it's like, you almost don't want him to ever have this champ anymore.
What are your thoughts on this?
Right, well, I'm thinking of the other top laners I would argue as like number one. I'm thinking of Someday, and he got solo killed earlier today at level 2 as Naruto Renekton, which usually shouldn't happen. But despite that solo kill, he kind of carried that game afterwards. Like he
became a split push monster.
He got a couple solo kills after that. He's some massive ultimates, so he's able to int but bring it back. That's a talent that not many people have. And
Impact has that talent.
That is Impact.
Some people just keep inting, they don't stop. They just full on roll.
One thing I like about Huni is that they actually play around him. And they did that quite a bit in their wins last week. Whether it's the Nocturne, the Lee Sin, now here the Rumble. I think you can actually put a lot of eggs in the Huni basket early on right now. And there were times where you're like, he's going to drop those eggs. But that hasn't happened in a long time.
Yeah, and I'll say this for Huni, at the beginning of the year, we're talking about him constantly doing poorly on weak side. When he's under pressure, he often dies and doesn't trade as well as he should. This game, he did get pressured top. Right? There are times when he got ganked and he just dropped his equalizer. He didn't even have to burn flash. So I do think that Huni is one of the elite weak side players now for sure. And there's a strong argument to be made that he's the best.
Feels like it's not definitive yet.
Yeah,
but we've definitely narrowed in on a conversation that I'm sure by the end of the split we'll have more of an answer to. Either way, TSM are staying strong, maintaining sole control of first place with that victory today. You got 100 Thieves right behind them in second. Cloud9, Team Liquid both picking up wins today to keep pace ahead of the rest of the pack. Immortals taking their victory over CLG. Not quite enough to push them further up the standings, but they're keeping themselves competitive in that top 8 race alongside teams like CLG.
Yeah, I think the things that really jump out to me are actually the Dignitas and FlyQuest streaks. I didn't realize it was quite 0-5 recently.
Ooh.
They are definitely struggling, and I knew they were, but I didn't think it was quite no wins almost
to put
in 2
those
weeks.
Numbers to it.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's a peculiar one, particularly when you isolate those streaks and kind of look at them as trends. Now, we have to remind ourselves that we're re-entering the second round robin, right?
Yeah.
So strength of schedule is going to play into some of those trends, and we'll have to see how things shake up with the rest of the weekend. Tomorrow, we're kicking off our day with Team Liquid taking on CLG. CLG looking to get back on that win streak and bring back some of that momentum here in summer.
Yeah, and overall, I think CLG today, they had a bit of a blunder that you hope is not going to be repeated with, Wild Turtle hitting the blast cone and all that, but I do think they've had a style that works for them and they should continue it. What I'm really excited to watch tomorrow is 100 Thieves versus Cloud9. Cloud9, it wasn't much, but it was an honest win, right? And it has Fen back, so I don't expect they're going to be at full strength necessarily by tomorrow, but I think this will be a good check against, I think, what the benchmark is for the top 3, which is 100 Thieves.
And one of those teams tomorrow between FlyQuest and Dignitas get to end
Break
the
their
0-5.
streak.
Ooh. One team's gonna be 0-6.
Battle of the
I have no
bottom.
idea which one it is, but we'll leave that for
That could be that could be the start of the momentum you need to kind of turn your split around. Back on though this Cloud9 and 100 Thieves front, I just want to bring up that I've interviewed Huhi earlier, and I asked him kind of about himself and FBI as a bot lane, and the 2 bot lanes that he cited as the ones that give them the most trouble, of course, Team Liquid and Cloud9. But I'm curious, do we feel like, based on what we heard from Vulcan earlier today, based on what we saw in the Cloud9 game, is this even a bot lane duo out of Cloud9 that's as strong as maybe the the perception and the memory is of Vulcan and Sven?
It's a little early to say because the one game that they just played was Ezreal's Sven, and you don't really, you kind of just farm it out.
Yeah.
You lose lane gracefully. You usually don't have push, and you just kind of hit your item spikes and you start just mystic shotting away.
And there was no Skarner in the game, so.
Yeah. Bully. James is a bully move. That was 2 years ago. It was. He's played Ezreal dozens of times since then.
True, and he's a very good Ezreal. He's a very good Ezreal. But I guess to your point, it's not necessarily the kind of pick that is going to, take off from the beginning of the game.
Yeah, and he had some good plays that game too. So I think, it was still very sus. There were some moments in that C9 game where you're worried, but I think I want to see more out of him, more aggressive picks.
My money is on FBI and Hui winning that lane. I don't expect it to be some kind of bloodbath where they're solo killing the guys at level 2 or level 1 as we just saw. But I imagine they'll win lane, wherever that may be. Maybe it's 20 CS, maybe it's a roam towards mid and get a kill. But I think they'll be comfortably down there.
Yeah, and I think the bigger story here is that C9, even with Sven, is not looking sharp. Right? People are talking about, hey, well, they don't have Sven and they're kind of giving them a pass. You don't really get that pass anymore, right? So I think we need to see them have just much sharper mid-game. Overall, they don't look like the super well-coordinated team that we've seen them be before. And I think that team is going to return, but evidently it's going to take some time. And you heard Vulcan say in the interview, hey, the issue we're having is that we're not playing well and we didn't have Sven.
Right.
We solved part 2. Part 1 is still unresolved. So
I was going to say, Cloud9 definitely one of those rosters that has the pieces. If they hit their stride, they will make it competitive. The question is, will they hit it in time for tomorrow's matchup against 100 Thieves? That is going to do it for us, though, here on Friday. So on behalf of myself, the casters, the entire broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for more LCS. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and be good to each other. Good night.